Hey, this is Paula Hines Lonergan, and I had a little caregiver tip insight in connection to those who are caring for persons with dementia, Alzheimer's, Lewy bodies, and other diseases where memory and function is affected. Um, I haven't talked a lot in my videos about repetition. You know, the fact that many people who are starting to have memory problems, dementia, things like that, they start to repeat themselves, meaning asking the same questions over and over or saying the same things over and over. And the reason I hadn't talked much about it is because in caring for my mother never went through this phase of asking questions or being repetitive. She just mainly displayed in her Alzheimer's dementia just the fact that she could not remember. However, I had an experience just this past weekend of visiting my great aunt. Now, my great aunt is diagnosed, I guess, maybe with dementia. She's in her late 80s, so it could be like dementia, Alzheimer's. I'm not really sure. I spent about 30 minutes with her. And in the 30 minutes that I was with her, I observed repetition of dementia patients firsthand. I'm, explained who I was. I'm not sure if she remembered me, and that's okay. It didn't really matter. But in talking to her and sitting next to her, she would ask me, where do you live? And I told her. After a while, she says, "Oh, you live in California." So it's like that information kind of stuck. But then the questions were, "Oh, how long are you going to be here?" And then she'd say, "Oh, well, you live in California. How long are you going to be here?" And then like 10 seconds later, she'd ask the same question. "Oh, where do you live again?" And I'd say California. And then she's like, "Oh, when are you going back?" And I tell her. I mean, and it was simply amazing to actually be with someone that manifests that particular trait. And because literally it was like, 10 seconds, she would ask the exact same question, "Oh, are you married?" And I tell her the answer, and then like 5 seconds or 10 seconds later, she'd ask the same question. So, I mean, and bless her soul, that's part of the dementia. And, I just made sure that every time I maintained a patience with her inside, so that in my answering her, it was patient as if I was answering it for the first time. Now, I understand that I was only with her a short period of time. And for people who have mothers and fathers and aunts and uncles and people that they're caring for that they live with or are around constantly, I can appreciate that the repetition can get frustrating. But one, I think it's important to recognize that it's not the person, it's the disease that's causing the repetition. And two, I think it really takes a very deliberate frame of mind to actually make sure within yourself that you maintain that patience and not get frustrated or say, "You just asked that," or "I just answered that question," because I could see how very easily it would be to slip into that frame of thinking and then that frame of action, which is portrayed as frustration. I remember there's this little cafe I would go to often, and I would see this older man with his elderly wife, and she was frail, but she could walk. And as I would observe them, I observed that she herself would ask her husband like the same questions. And he just kind of always just kind of answered and kept reading his paper. But it was obvious that he had love for her and patience because he was never frustrated in his response. And like I said, I kind of filed that away. And because that was never something that I dealt with in caring for my own mom, I've never kind of had to develop that, a strategy for coping specifically. But the strategy is out there. Frame of mind, I think, would be the most important thing, and patience if you deal with someone that repeats things over and over. Anyways, just my thoughts on that. Um, It was a beautiful thing to be with my aunt. All right. This is Paula Hines Lonergan. Feel free to email me or call me. Thanks. Bye.